Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host Dave.
And I'm John, and you're frozen.
No, I'm JD, and I don't know what's going on. Dave is frozen.
Dave is frozen. Dave was frozen today.
Frozen like the wonderful popsicle I just had.
Ooh, popsicle.
It was good. It was one of those natural popsicles. They use like the natural juices to make them that are like 1,000 times better than like one of those cheapy popsicles you would get. Oh, Dave's back. Hey, Dave.
Oh, you have to send me what the maker is, because it's
Zoom
hard to find popsicles
unexpectedly.
that are like actual real juice.
Yeah, it's really good. Hi, Dave. You back?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me just make sure there's nothing running in my background that's like killing my computer. No, this is weird. All right.
Windows, Microsoft.
I'm running
They
on a Mac right
suck.
All right, wait, where were we?
We were introducing ourselves.
here. We were talking about popsicle.
Oh, well.
You said
I
you
felt
were
like going
Dave.
there for
I
a
said
second.
you were frozen, and then JD said he was a popsicle. So
You ever start the show and get like 10 texts from like 8 different people? This is wild. My phone is going.
Oh yeah, sometimes you hear my
trying.
phone.
The dog is trying to break in.
I'm waiting for my cat to jump up because they want to go out today, but it's going to be 25 degrees out, so no kittens out.
Hang on, I got to get the dog. He's going to tear my freaking door down.
This is awesome. It's pure chaos.
This is the best podcasting you could possibly do.
We are so organized and professional. It's unbelievable.
Should we start over?
No, this is ambiance. This is realism, you know? Let's give the people what they want. Just a pure and utter chaos. So
People want dogs.
Oh, people want Astro. People stop when we walk and we go places. People stop they stop during, they look at my dog and they go, what an interesting looking dog, because he's beautiful. Because he's the right combination of mutt. Come here. Come on my lap. Come on, monster. Come here. No, okay. No, he's not cooperating. Not that it matters. It's not a video show anyway.
Oh, you mean I put up all these Christmas lights for nothing?
What is Christmas?
All right.
Out of my trash. Sorry.
How is everyone? How are you doing, JD? Besides playing with your beautiful dog.
I was in Iowa all weekend for a wrestling tournament. We did okay. This is our rebuilding year, so I was reasonably happy with this performance. Where we got a lot to grow on, we're getting better. So other than that, same old, same old.
Why does rebuilding year always feel like code for something?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I know everyone thought we were going to suck because we had 11 seniors last year.
Yeah.
And, we're young, but we finished in the top 12 of this nationally ranked tournament. If 152-pounder wins a match he's supposed to, we're in the top 10. And that's really good. So we're probably ranked 6th after being 2nd last year.
It's one of the funny things that people don't. Oh, I mean, people who really follow sports follow it, but people that are casual fans don't realize in high school and college sports, once your seniors graduate, you don't have that talent anymore.
No. And then when you have, that's the nice part about having this great class. Last year we had this, my class of 2022 was awesome. We had 7 state place winners in it out of 14 weight classes.
Yeah, you had a great team.
We had a great team last year. We were ranked top 20 in the country. We were really good. We should have won. I am on a show. My kid just came in to turn the lights off on me. Why would you do that?
Well, in these days, you have to save electricity.
Turn my lights back on, man. Close the door. What is going on?
This
Hey,
superhero.
dog, close the door.
It's Superhero Speak After Dark.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, Yeah, we had this super group of freshmen. We have 5 kids wrestling in college out of that group of seniors. They're all doing really well. And we had a great JV group last year, but they didn't get that varsity experience. So now they're
Right.
getting that varsity experience and they're doing well. This year's rebuilding. I think next year we could be pretty damn good again. So, it's about getting those kids the experience this year. And the 4 seniors we have on the team is about getting them, they're just due. So it's their, one thing I've been saying is, hey, this is your guys, this is your legacy. This is what's this team going to be. And they're responding. Like, everyone's like, oh, DeKalb's going to suck this year. You're going to be terrible. And now we're like 6th.
Every sports team starts off like that.
Well, it is. And it's like, I firmly believe we're part of the best coaching staff in the state of Illinois. And, we're good at, I'm biased, but I mean, I truly believe that. And the kids are developing and they're getting better. And most of them, out of the 14 kids, we lose 4. So we'll have 10 kids coming back next year.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it is awesome. I'm very excited.
I have to say this, JD, like, I'm proud to be your friend.
Thank you.
With stuff like this, because like people are like, I don't think a lot of people realize how much this means to those kids, and they're going to carry that with them for the rest of their life.
I really enjoy when I talk to kids that I've had over the years that come back and will say things like that to us, like about how much doing this meant to them or how much it helped shape them. And, there's a lot of ups and downs, and, sometimes parents can be a lot to deal with. But when it comes to they can be, but I mean, like when it comes to the kids, it's always, 9.9 times out of 10, it's always something positive coming back. Yeah. So, I always feel bad about it because you get super close to these kids for 4 years. And then actually for us, it's more like 6 years because we're working with them when they're in the junior club too. But I mean, like, and then they move on to something else. And then, sometimes they come back and sometimes, they don't. But, they always kind of remember what they were doing. And I don't know, man, I really like this part of my life. I really do.
Cool. How about you, John? How's your life?
2 Christmas gifts away from finishing my shopping.
December just started, man.
and also kind of a coincidence, I'm 2 Christmas gifts away from declaring bankruptcy. I mean, that's how it works, right?
Yes,
I mean,
that's exactly how it works.
So yeah, I mean, part of my problem is, well, it's not a problem. I've gained new family this year.
I thought you were going to say weight.
What?
I thought you were going to say you gained weight.
No. Actually, I've lost weight. I'm on my way to losing 20 pounds. Hopefully, is someday soon. I'm halfway there, but no, I've gained new family. So a branch of the family that was lost.
You did tell us about that.
So.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do remember.
Your illegitimate sister, was it?
Yeah. No, half sister. We do not use the I word.
I'm just teasing, but yeah.
I know.
I watched a lot of Game of Thrones. The bastard.
No, that's the parent. So, so yeah. So I've got more nephews to buy for, which is actually fun. Getting to know new nephews and a new sister. I got to meet her over Thanksgiving, which was awesome. And yeah, it's been pretty cool actually. Other than that, same old with work. So, I got nothing. Which is good. Well, which is good, I mean, things are a little bit quiet. And yes, I'm going to finish my Christmas shopping early, which means that I can sit back and, well, I'd say relax, but I have got a lot of wrapping to do now. So, and I found there are certain gifts that I'm getting that I ordered them halfway through November, and oh my God, they might not make it for December.
Yeah.
So
tell me
funny.
about it.
My wife I was looking at our Christmas cards and they're all fall. It says happy fall. I'm like, why do they say happy fall? She's like, well, I was going to do fall cards because everybody does Christmas cards and we just got them. And I was like, she's like, I said, why did you plan on doing fall cards instead of Christmas cards like everybody else? Because I didn't want to be like everybody else. I wanted to be different. And I said, well, now you're going to be different by giving out happy fall to people at Christmas time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Your story reminds me though, John, of my mother-in-law.
How you doing, Dave?
My mother-in-law, right before she, not long before she passed away, found out she had a half brother that they didn't know about. I mean, they knew, long story, her father left her mother, when she was little, and there's a whole story around that. And they knew he had a mistress, but they didn't know he had any children with this mistress. And it turns out he had a son. And about a year and a half before she passed away, she did finally meet him, His name was Mark. He was a really nice guy. I haven't seen him since. It's a whole other story. But yeah, so but it's weird. Like that can happen, So
Yep.
how am I? So I am finishing off. It's not Bailey's. It's another Irish cream. What's begins with a C, John?
St. Brendan's or
No.
an Irish cream that begins with C?
Yeah, the brand is being okay. If you don't know off the top of your head, it's fine.
No, now I gotta know because it's like there's St. Brendan's. Yeah, St. Brendan's. What is it? Carolyn's?
Yes,
Carolyn's?
that's it. That's it.
I've never had that.
It's not bad.
Oh, it's got a honey flavor. It's almost like okay.
So the reason I'm like, and it's funny, I thought there was more left in the bottle, and I put it in my cup, and it only like filled this up a third. We were out last night, my girlfriend and I normally spend the night on Saturdays at her house, and she's like, "Oh, let's stop at the State Store real quick," and I was like, "All right, fine." They had Pennsylvania Dutch has an eggnog, and they had a smaller bottle and a bigger bottle. I'm like, "Oh, let's try this." It was $10 for the smaller bottle. And then it was the biggest bottle of Irish cream I've ever seen. And after dinner, me, her, and her son sat around and drank most of the bottle.
Nice.
And then I woke up at some point this afternoon. This morning, and then she's like, "Oh, just take the bottle home." I'm like, "All right." And I'm
so
like,
you had a good weekend.
I was like, "I'll have a little while we record," and it was like, "Oh my God, we did drink a lot of this." So, yeah, that was my weekend. Nothing else really going on. I have not finished my Christmas shopping yet. I think I've bought 2 gifts so far, both for my son. The one thing that he wants a new Switch, and like Switch has.
You gonna go out in the backyard and cut for him?
Funny.
Nintendo Switch.
He wants the OLED version, right?
Yes.
Organic light emitting.
And they have a limited Pokemon themed one. He's a big Pokemon fan, has always been since he was a little tyke.
Brilliant.
And that is sold out everywhere, and it's driving me nuts. It's like,
That's why I started in November. Actually, I started in October.
Well, he didn't tell me this is what he wanted until like right before Thanksgiving, and
that's why you asked him in January.
So
of the year before, like
he has said, like if you can't get the Pokemon one, it's fine because he's like, I know that it's a hot,
but it's not really fine. You know that, right?
But
you failed.
He mainly wants the OLED version. His like for those who are Switch owners, number one, his kickstand broke, so that's annoying. But the other thing is, people who know when you put it in they get hot when they go in the base.
Yeah. And
they'll bend a little bit. And his has a little bit of a bend in it. So it still works, but it's weird, like the plastic warps. So
that's
because it gets hot.
I don't know. My nephews, my sister's kids have 2 of those, and I've never seen them warp before.
Yeah, it's a known issue with them. If you have them in there a lot and you play like long time where you have it hooked up to your TV, they get hot and it can warp the plastic. So,
well, that's not good.
No, it doesn't. So far, it doesn't break it, but I mean, he's had it for. I don't even remember when the Switch came out, but he's had it that long. So, yeah, it's annoying. But yeah, that was my weekend. That was my week. Nothing like exciting going on right now, because where all the exciting stuff happens over on social media.
Oh.
Well, yeah, considering how bad Twitter's doing right now.
So first off,
I was on Hive the week before it collapsed upon itself. So never mind that.
They're shaking out their bugs now that they're actually big time.
They grew too fast.
Yeah, they were. I saw memes where people were saying like they're running down looking for staples and tape to hold the servers together.
I've heard that Hive is like still owned by 2 guys, and like
once I rose above the noise and confusion. But I flew too high. I didn't want to go the whole thing.
Yeah. No, it's been like
that's what happens with a lot of these these little startup social media companies. People, whatever happens, people jump on them for some reason, and then they can't handle the load.
That's what happened to Zoom when COVID happened. Yep. Zoom suddenly got inundated. And suddenly they were finding same thing with Hive. They were finding security issues all over the place. So, it's, I don't know, that's partly American development problems. Like
Yes.
other countries that you don't have deadlines like that, and you have time to write secure code. Here, no. You've got to beat everybody else to market. You've got to generate market interest. You've got to do it quick, do it fast. And then when it falls over, it's like, oh, well, that's just growing. Just like Microsoft for the last 50 years. But, we're back to
But our first set of social media doesn't come from Twitter this time.
It doesn't.
Comes from Facebook. And I'm using this as a reminder that, yes, we are on Facebook and Instagram. So if you guys want to communicate with us on those platforms, you can do that as well.
We should do TikTok. You can do the floss and put it up there.
No, I'm not flossing for anyone. And it comes from JD's good friend, Drew C., who, what was that?
I said Drew's a good dude. You had a dramatic pause there. So I don't know if I was.
He started off by saying, nice. JD is back from the future. And then he said, they got rid of the VP who was behind Disney Plus. I really like Disney Plus and hope it isn't affected. Is that true? I
don't know. I don't remember hearing that at all. I'm not saying he's wrong. I just don't remember hearing it.
One of the things that killed renting. Okay, well, this is him messaging as he's listening. One of the things that killed renting movies for me was how cheap DVD technology became. Me and my friends would go to Target and get a couple $2.50 movies or a $5 4-pack and watch those instead of renting for $5. Plus, we could get affordable snacks and things.
DVD technology did get really cheap. Like in the early 2000s,
yeah,
you could buy you were buying like spindles of DVDs for reasonable prices and burning off like high quality stuff. Like there's a lot of guys like me that were able to start small businesses in the early 2000s replicating DVD technology that couldn't have been done 5 years earlier. So he's not wrong.
He's not. That
digital revolution in the early 2000s really did change the nature.
One of my most embarrassing stories was this is going back to the Blockbuster days when they had late fees and they didn't have a limit to what they charged for the late fees. I eventually got to the point where if it cost more than the movie, they just charged you for the movie and wrote it off. I had just gotten a DVD player. I was still dating my wife at the time, and we rented The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh my God.
I was about to say, we didn't care for the movie at all.
Yeah, no.
And my cousin, who I lived with my cousin at the time, he was going to Blockbuster, so he just grabbed the movies and took them back for me. Well, here's the problem. The DVD was still on the DVD player.
Whoopsies.
Technology was new. We didn't use it that often. And it was in there for like a couple months. Oh. I got some threat. And apparently they had called a couple times, and my cousin just listened to the message and erased it and didn't tell me until I got a letter saying I owed them like $50 for this movie. I'm like, you're kidding me.
Sure, that was totally by accident on them to wait a long time before you owed a lot to call.
No, but I'm saying they did call, but he would get home before me, listen to the message, and then just erase it and then not tell me about it. So yes, the lesson here was always check your DVD player. And everyone listening is like, what's a DVD player?
So in it's because we're around Christmas time, right? It's Christmas of 2000 that was the big DVD Christmas, right? Yeah. That was the Christmas that everybody got their first DVD player. And do you remember what the movie was? Like the high at the time, the highest selling DVD movie?
2000?
Yeah. It like shattered records, and it took a while for anyone to catch it.
The Matrix.
Gladiator.
Oh, yes. Huh. Okay, I remember that.
Came out then. That was the big movie of the right. year. So everybody was buying that as their first DVD.
See, the first VHS I ever saw, which is why I remember when we got our first VHS player, which was really expensive at the time, was John Carpenter's A Thing.
Yeah,
you don't forget that when that's your first real rated R movie, and holy moly, yeah, I don't think Gladiator comes up to that standard, but
I like Gladiator. I think it's a good movie.
Yeah. So he also continued. This feeds into that because then everything is streaming now. One aspect of the discussion about streaming services creating their own content is that a lot of these streaming services are operating on a loss right now. Mm-hmm. I read an article related to Chapek firing that he had to speak to the large losses reported by Disney Plus, and that he is protecting it. He's projecting. Sorry, he missed the J there.
It won't turn
He's projecting it won't turn a profit till 2026. which didn't make investors happy. And I read that he was shifting costs for some of these Disney Plus exclusive shows to the Disney Channel and the cable companies by showing episodes on the Disney Channel the day before they came to Disney Plus. I don't know about that. I hadn't heard that before.
Nor had I.
Oh, he said he got some of the details wrong. There is an article here, which we won't get into. I feel like, and then again, this is stream of consciousness. I feel like Star Wars is steak.
I don't know what that means.
I feel like Star Wars is steak because they are operating in 100-year period and really just stale.
Autocorrect.
Yes, because they're operating in 100-year period and really are just looking at a 40-year period of that, just before the twins, to just after the death of the Emperor. Always agree with JD that the sequel trilogy
that's good advice.
Needs a Feige. It's a good advice to always agree with JD.
Yes, constantly. Oh, my wife that she never listens to me.
No, of course not. So,
by the way, in that article that he linked to, there's also indications that the other reason why they're getting rid of Chapek is because during the Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, that he refused to condemn it, and they had a huge employee walkout.
There was a lot there. I know a lot of the park people were very upset with that. There was some upsetness on that.
Yeah, rightly so, but and of course him trying to walk the line like all these executives do. He, can't really condemn it because he's in Florida. But I think didn't Florida's governor decide to take away their ownership of the land around there was something where they owned the township around.
No,
Disney.
they were immune to a lot of Florida state laws, and they're removed.
It wasn't just immune. They were responsible for the township. They were responsible for power. I mean, they were responsible for upkeep, just as any local government would be. And it was a loss for them. And the governor said, well, if you're going to go against this bill, then we're going to take away your ownership of this. And Disney was like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. We lose $3 million on that a year. No problem.
Well, it's essentially the Vatican City set up there in Orlando. So
true.
Or Kissimmee, or whichever place that is out there.
Yeah.
Vatican City operates as its own government for people that don't get that reference.
Yes. All right. But I think that's a discussion for another podcast.
With the Pope as head of state.
Well, it goes to the fact that, there was a kerfluffle and he didn't handle it well.
Did you guys ever read Angels and Demons from Dan Brown?
Yes, it's
he's got really good ideas, but the execution of them are always a little bit. Yeah, but he makes a lot of money. Can't fight him.
He does. Moving on. Last week, obviously, we talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which we all love. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. To which Timothy Jones said, I enjoyed it for the most part. The part where Drax threw Mantis over the gate was funny, but later when she and Drax were leaping, I thought, why couldn't Mantis have just leaped over the gate herself? Because it's funny.
She got to explain it to the King of Dad jokes.
Also, no social media madness this week, so that's in 41 finer papers now across the country.
Okay.
He had to get his self plug in.
That's okay. For you. Yeah. We shall amend our numbers. Keep it up, Tim.
Yeah.
Keep going, man. That's cool.
It was interesting. I mean, yeah. He that goes into the string on the board territory for nerds.
No, it doesn't. It's just it's funny because before she could even think to jump over it, because there's that physical and mental barrier. Like there's a gate, so you wait until the guy lets him in. So what does Drax do? He goes right into throwing her over. Yeah, she would have done. It's just a funny moment where he got to it first before she did. And he solved it the Drax way, which is always hysterical.
Yes. Matthew Meehan said, really enjoyed the Guardians holiday special, and JD had heard Christmas Rapping. It was a song in the nightclub scene.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Interesting.
Favorite Christmas songs, Christmas Rapping, and Christmas in Hollis.
Yeah, and Christmas Rapping was playing in all the malls too. And and on the it's still played on the radio. Like I think Clear Channel Communications has it as one of their 200 songs that they play for Christmas.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well, it's one of those songs you can't get away from. I am so shocked. Do you not listen to the radio at all, JD?
Not really. Sometimes. I mean, I'll catch the local rock station on occasion if I can't find a book or a podcast that I want to listen to.
yeah, but back in the day,
back in the day, I did, of course. I am an older millennial. I know of the radio.
You know of the radio. Okay. And finally, I forgot to include this one in the email. Random Randy Savage chimed in and said, corrected me on something, actually. That was the Wakanda arm. After I rewatched the scene, I'm like, yeah, it was the black and gold arm. My guess is Nebula stole it from him after a night of heavy drinking and mechanical love play.
Jesus.
Makes as much sense as anything. I can see it.
Yeah. And you know what? Like on YouTube, New Rock Stars, they do a lot of breakdowns of the Marvel stuff. They have one video talking about, well, is Wakanda after Rocket, and is Wakanda going after them now? Like, we're gonna see them go after the Guardians because of the arm? So, are we like, and the Dormelage show up and like, hey,
go ahead,
hand
JD.
it back.
Remind us, it was just a joke.
It's a joke. It's a gag.
I know, but I know, but
bigger nerds than we need to be. We're just we're going into territory we cannot come back from.
Yeah, whoa! Like, there is no limit to how big a nerd we can.
Wait a minute.
I'm trying to help you here.
How long did we say it's Mephisto on this podcast? Well, how long did John say?
And eventually we're right. If we keep saying it, eventually we're going to be right. And guess who was right?
Right. So if we keep saying
Mephisto.
If we keep saying Wakanda's eventually going to go after Rocket and Nebula for the arm,
I don't think so. I think this might be the last time we see Rocket and Nebula.
Ooh, you pieces of the trailer. Yeah, something that Well,
we'll talk about that. Actually, New Rockstars had a really great take. No, not New Rockstars. It was a different one.
Not the Emergency Channel, because they.
No, oh God, I can't stand that.
I can't.
Emergency Awesome. I can't stand them. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember who it was now. One of those channels. They had an interesting take on the trailer. I'll mention that when we get there. All right, and then finally we had talked about Quentin Tarantino saying the MCU has killed the movie star.
Yeah.
And the Gorilla Brain podcast said, "You pay to be entertained. Shouldn't matter either way." Which he actually has a point there, right? Like, should it matter if a movie starred Arnold Schwarzenegger or, Sylvester Stallone, or are you just going to go see a movie?
Depends. And that's the legit answer. Some people, it depends on how you're selling a movie. There's some people there, because this is like the marketing from back in the days. You sold a movie based on the stars or what, that was the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, because sometimes the property was the draw. And I think we've gotten to the point where movie stars really aren't a thing anymore.
They are in some ways still, because a lot of the animated movies now, they will cast A-list actors for the voices instead of professional voice actors in order to be a draw.
Are you talking about things from the 1990s?
No, I'm talking about these days.
Yeah,
but they've always done that.
No,
I mean it's like Chris Pratt being the voice of Mario.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's a horrible. I know a lot of people say it's a horrible choice, but it feels like that's done because they're afraid Mario's not going to draw people in. I think it's silly.
I think it's silly too. And hearing what we've heard from Chris Pratt, I'm offended as an Italian American. Robin Williams is the genie. I mean, this isn't new. They've been doing this a long time.
Well, but then you get like Ghost in the Shell. The only reason they cast Scarlett Johansson was because she would help draw people to the movie.
In theory,
right?
Did that happen?
But then word of mouth killed it because it was kind of bad.
I think,
like all live action and anime movies are.
I honestly think the biggest mistake in an animated movie in recent years, and it's silly, was not bringing back Jaleel White to do the voice of Sonic in the Sonic movie, because I think nostalgia.
Jaleel White was the voice of Sonic?
Yes,
I didn't know that. I just learned that right now.
Urkel was the voice of Sonic. Yeah. So, I think for nostalgia purposes, that the movie would have done twice as good in the theaters if they had done that. I honestly
I don't know. It did well in the theaters, and again, it came out.
It did do well. I mean,
just before the world ended the first time, right? That was just as the COVID collapse.
That was the last movie I saw before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was one of the last things that came out before the pandemic.
Yes,
and it did really well in comparison. So I think because a lot of Sonic fans are young. right? Like my kid loves Sonic, but he doesn't even know what a Jaleel White is.
Yeah, and in some of those cases, like the consistency of the voice actors depends on what the target audience is. Like you're saying, JD, and like guys like us will remember the voice of Sonic and the voice of Mario for the last 30 years. But if they're going to try to bring in new, the latest teenagers or whatever, the kids these days, they're not going to remember that.
I still stand by it's us middle-aged people that bring our kids to the movies.
This is true. No, there is. I mean, I think it would help
to an extent, but I mean, I took my kid to see The Bad Guys this year, right? And I took him to see some other things that I had zero interest.
But I'm saying, I think young people didn't care who the voice of Sonic was.
No,
where I think you would have gotten a bigger draw if you brought him back, because then, to the people who didn't care, they're going to go see it either way. And the people who weren't sure and be like, "Hey, look, they brought him back."
Are you really proselyting that there are people that refuse to see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie because Jaleel White was not the voice of the Hedgehog?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think it would have been a great bigger draw. Especially they could have had Sonic at some point say, "Did I do that?"
I'm gonna disagree with you on this one, Dave.
That would not have helped me. No, but the Mario one does. The Mario Mario one is going to be jarring.
Is a bad choice, and every other choice this movie seems to be pretty good. But Chris Pratt is, he's Chris.
Especially
Pratt.
because, look, I think part of the problem is Chris Pratt didn't want to do an over-the-top Italian accent to not offend people, which I don't blame him for that. But then at the same time, you were expecting Mario to have an over-the-top Italian accent.
Right. The first thing you're expecting to hear is,
"Hey, Mario, it's me, Mario. Hey, if you get a pizza, yeah. Hey." I mean, like that as an Italian, that's what I expect from Super Mario. I mean, if you can't resurrect the ghost of Captain Lou Albano, I want something. I want some facsimile,
Right.
But I'm not getting that with the uber white guy.
He is like just the generic white guy, isn't he?
He is like the whitest of dudes. Say this,
then,
white guy.
Finally, Randy Savage said, "I can see where he's coming from. He's right that you can't." Remember, we're talking about Quentin Tarantino. He's right that you can't just slap a Stallone in every predictable plot, call it done anymore. But you still need good,
which is what they did for a long time.
But you still need good actors to bring characters to life. And
but good actors and movie stars is a difference. There's tons of great actors who are never movie stars.
Right. I'm saying, you can't argue that they're bad actors in any of those movies.
Right. I agree.
Like that's what I think Randy's saying. He's not saying anything other than maybe the movie star isn't gone, but they're all excellent actors, right? So shut up, Quentin. And then he sent a link to a TikTok, which was weird, and you guys can look at it later.
Good.
It's someone explaining what you were talking about. It reminds me of you. It's of someone talking about
someone
the 70s,
being really annoying.
This is what they did, and then everyone made a chase movie, and it's like, oh, okay. Every big actor every big director in the 70s started out by making a chase movie, and he points all these out, and I'm like, oh my god, I never thought of that.
Who did someone responded? Who Quentin Tarantino said this, or someone responded?
No, this was Randy sent a link to this TikTok video.
Oh, okay.
Someone saying this. It wasn't a response to anything. It was just him talking about. Yeah.
Maybe I need a TikTok so I have somewhere to put out my insane rants that when I don't have them in time for the show. That's a thing. You can do that on TikTok. I don't have to dance and show my boobs. I can just talk about nerd stuff.
Actually, you know what?
I can do that.
You know what So Wizard does, and we might steal this.
I'm willing to steal it from Joey.
Joey puts out 1 minute reviews.
Oh yeah, I see that on Twitter. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he'll review comics. He'll review a TV show or review a movie. Just real quick, 1 minute. This is what I thought of it, and he puts it out there, and they do well for them. So that is all the social media for this week. So if you want to be part of Social Media Madness next week, here's a good friend D Squared to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of Social Media Madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at superheroespeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at stars_podcast _geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for hashtag GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
Thanks for that, Don. Don't forget to check out Omega Level Nerds, available on YouTube, and the podcasts are available. And then we got to get them on maybe someday before the holidays. Again, there's nothing coming out before Christmas that we're going to review, so we'll think of something to get them on for. Oh, the year in review.
Yeah, he's a good guy to have you for. We should get him and Ray and Randy and like get a table. Right, for a year in review. That'd be a good idea. I like how I pitched ideas to you guys in the middle of the show.
Yes, because this is how
I do it a lot.
This is how the show works.
I have an idea just now.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For these messages.
All right, we're back.
I finished my bourbon. I'm good now.
We should start with. We had a little bit of sad news, not as sad as some of the deaths that we've had.
It's still sad,
but it's still sad. One of
we met him.
Is this an epic year of deaths or what?
Yeah, this has been bad.
Yeah,
but one of John's all-time favorite writers. Of course, I enjoy his work as well. He's been on the podcast. Peter David unfortunately suffered a stroke last week. He's in the hospital recovering. No permanent damage that they can see so far, just weakness on his left side. But
we've interviewed him.
Yes, we did. I'll have a link to the to that episode in the description. I also will have a link. There is a GoFundMe. They currently still haven't hit their goal. They're close to it to help pay for the medical bills because unfortunately, we live in a world where creative people who don't work full time for someone don't have health insurance. They have to get their own insurance, and sometimes that insurance is crap. So they need to raise some money to help pay his medical bills right now. So you could donate, would be appreciated. And again, link should be in the description for the episode on our website, and we'll put it on social media as well.
I got a script review from Peter David once when I first started writing in Deluge. Right when I was in, it was one of the things that when Andy Schmidt first launched the Comics Experience workshop, he said, "All right, we're going to review. We'll have Peter David review one script." And he chose mine, and I got a good but a thorough review. He's like, it's good, but and boom, 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 boom. And I got this series of notes from him. It was really cool.
What was the script that he picked? Was it anything?
Deluge? It's Deluge, my comic series that's out right now. It's been out since 2014.
Oh, okay.
Just so people know who he is. If you're listening and you don't know who he is,
who he is.
Well.
He's written Spider-Man.
Peter David is why are you listening to this show?
I know, right?
Babylon 5, Star Trek,
The Next Generation. He's written books for all of if you've watched it on TV, he's written books, novelizations for it, for Starfleet Academy, Gateways, Deep Space Nine, Captain's Table. He's done X Factor, Wolverine, Supergirl, Spider-Man, She-Hulk, The Incredible Hulk, Doctor Who, even once, Captain Marvel, Babylon 5 more, Aquaman, Action Comics. He's done literally almost everything.
That's impressive because the Doctor Who thing, because there's not a lot of Americans who can say they've written Doctor Who in any form of media.
He wrote One Fateful Night, which is in an anthology. He did Short Trips, The Quality of Leadership.
That's impressive.
I have to say, when we met him, this was at a convention. We walked up and I'm sitting there this is Peter David. He's not going to want to talk to us. And I said, would you do an interview? He's like, yeah, sure. And he talked with us for a while. He talked about everything he's written, what his inspirations are, how he writes characters. He's just such a great guy.
But he's not somebody that goes in and writes I'm going to make it this when it goes in. He's one of those writers where the reason why he's done so many different properties is he goes in, he knows the source material, or at least he learns it. He learns the voice of that material, and then he writes in that voice. There's very, very few people that can go in and mimic something and then make it and then improve on it while he's in there,
He doesn't. That was actually one of his notes to me about how to do that, better in certain places.
Yeah, he's I just there's a reason why he's up top, one of my top 20 of all time, period. You know, guys, he's just his versatility is just unparalleled.
Yeah, no, definitely. So hopefully he will make a full recovery. I mean, I haven't, everything that his wife has posted, he seems to be doing well, and he'll be back at it soon. So yeah, well, let's move on to happier stuff, guys. We had count them, 3 trailers that hit this week, all on the same day, which was crazy.
Was it only 3? I thought there were more than that.
No, it might have been more than that, but there were 3
that we care about.
Yeah, that would be for our show.
Yeah. Let's start off with the one where the interest is probably lowest for all of us. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Obviously, this is the 7th Transformers movie. I believe it's the first. Is this the first one Michael Bay is not involved with at all?
You can
second.
Yeah, and
I thought Michael Bay still produced Bumblebee.
I'm not sure. He might have. I think he was a piano, like a producer name only.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell by them the actual Transformers themselves. They do not they don't
even the trailer feels.
Yeah.
Right. We just watched this before the show, and I showed it to my wife, and she's like, "This looks good."
Wasn't as many as explosions as.
Well, not only that, but the primary focus is going to be the Autobots and the actual characters themselves. So it's not going to be, we're going to focus on these human characters and giant robots fighting in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, right? 7 films in, right? One of the highest grossing movie series of all time, by the way. I think they're 14 billion total.
What a shame. What a thing to stick humanity with.
Oh no, wait. Is it 14 billion or is it no, it's 4.8 billion. I'm sorry.
No.
Still
I mean, still way too much.
No argument. Most of them are terrible. Bumblebee was a lot of fun though.
It was. No, that was good. Yeah.
I think it surprised people. I think people were done with the franchise.
Okay, so the total budget for the total budget for the first 6 movies is 1.1 billion. Total box office is 4.8, which so that's why they're still making these, right? If Bumblebee had flopped, that would have been the last one, but it still made money, so they're going to still keep cranking these out to people say, okay, enough's enough already. It's these and the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, but if this one turns out as good, because since Bay isn't doing it, I don't know. Do you guys ever watch Beast Wars? Do you guys know any of the mythology?
That's for my age group. I think that's kind of like where I completely fell out of all of that stuff for a while. I did not watch Beast Wars.
You were probably in your mid-20s at that point, right?
Early to mid-20s by the time Beast Wars.
Yeah, because I was a teenager and I only caught it because it was on before practice, like in syndication.
Yeah.
Right before, like in college, we would watch it because it was on. It was that and Spider-Man the Animated Series, and then I had to go to practice. So I mean, like it was one of those things. I caught it when I was in college, like 18, and I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Like, yeah, Optimus Primal was a cool character.
It was one of the first full CGI cartoons, wasn't it?
Yeah, that and like Reboot.
Yeah, Reboot was the first by Mainframe.
Yeah,
that was. Yeah, and you can tell when in the first few episodes of this that they're starting with very, very bland backgrounds and not a lot of process. Yes. And as the series progresses, you can see them getting more technical, more distinct backgrounds, more rendering power.
Right.
But aside from that, yeah, the storylines in this were amazing. The only thing that kept Beast Wars from being perfect was Hasbro continuing to say, "Oh, we need to introduce this toy. So introduce this in the storyline." And the writers went through, like, they turned themselves into pretzels. It was Larry DiTilio and Bob Ford. They turned themselves into pretzels trying to keep the storyline coherent while dealing with Hasbro riding their backs on, continually introducing new. But there was stuff in there, like there was a love story between 2 of them, Agnia and I forget what the other one was. That was just hysterical as it progressed. And then they nixed it in the when they went to Cybertron. But I think things changed there because of Hasbro again. But the thing is that there were so many good things in Beast Wars, and if you're introducing that mythology into a Transformers movie, and making the Transformers the focus of the movie, this has the potential to be the one that everybody's been waiting for.
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? Like, again, I didn't watch Beast Wars, but like my understanding is, at least in the beginning, it was a completely separate mythology from the original.
No, it wasn't.
G1.
No, not at all. It was a continuation.
Prequel actually takes place before.
Well, before and after. Like the Optimus Primal is from the future. He's a descendant of Optimus Prime, and yet they've been sent. And
it takes place on Earth.
On Earth
in the past.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's because if you remember in the G1 timeline, the ship wrecks. Right. The Ark wrecks and is there for like 4 million years.
Right. Before it wakes up.
So Shockwave is basically like, it never made sense to me. Shockwave kind of ruled like a king over Cybertron. And then Megatron comes back after 4 million years. And it's like, oh, we got to get Megatron back. I mean, that's why Shockwave's kind of Shockwave's shady, but like, yeah.
But it feels like they're doing the same thing with this, the kind of like with The Last Night. Like we established this mythology for the movies, and now now here's something like we never mentioned before, but now millions of years.
That happens in that. We're comic fans, for God's sakes. This happens all the time.
Right.
Like it's always, so you didn't know about this, the secret, mysterious things of our past that we never knew. And plus, it's still kind of a reboot.
It was also frustrating that they kind of just threw the Dinobots in. Like,
well, that was stupid. Again, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But this
Michael Bay sucks ass.
You got to remember that this is messing with the timeline, right? I mean, like Optimus Primal is coming back to the present day and meeting Optimus Prime, his ancestor. So, and all the models are different. So I don't know if they're just going to pull all that Michael Bay stuff that's Kelvin timeline or whatever. I don't know
what they're going to do that.
But the models are different and everything. They're not reusing any of the transformations. So this might, like, again, if they do this right and they just kind of ignore all that crap stuff from the beginnings, and you don't see any hint of the wikis, then you should this again.
I mean, we have
this could be the good one.
We see Optimus, Mirage, Optimus Primal, and Bumblebee. And that what's the female?
RC.
RC and Cheetar and Rhinox and all of the beasts.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, all the beasts in that scene at the end, but I mean, like the actual interactions we see, scenes that are going to feature those, and like the only two that are returning are Bumblebee and Optimus. It looks like so far, like they're bringing Mirage in, which I thought he was always a fan favorite. It's weird that they waited till now to bring him in.
Have they ever brought in Hot Rod?
Did they bring in Hot Rod?
I don't know.
I thought I saw him in one of them, but I haven't.
But if you're gonna bring Hot Rod in, does that mean you're gonna?
Not necessarily, but you could.
Yeah. Wait, but did they learn the first time?
They're not gonna.
You don't kill Optimus Prime.
But you could tease it.
You could tease it. Yes. Actually, they've teased that they killed him a couple times.
Many times. You keep teasing it because you've done it before. People don't trust you.
Yes, we don't trust Hasbro. But
no, because they want to sell toys. But the thing is, like, they still after decades, they still haven't realized that if you tell a good story, the story will pull people in to buy the toys, not just constantly, throwing stuff on a screen.
Here's the thing I thought was also odd in the trailer. Like, when does this take place? Because Bumblebee is a Camaro again, as opposed to the Bug. And and he's the old Camaro before he fixes himself in the first Transformers movie to update him to look like the new Camaro.
Well, if you're saying this happens before the Michael Bay movies, then again, Optimus Primal coming back could change the entire timeline and wipe out all that stuff.
Well, we don't know what the timeline is right now. So
I know.
Think about
I'm just hopeful.
But I mean, that's the only thing that like really caught me as odd in the trailer. It's like, wait, he's the old Camaro again. Like I don't get this, but yeah, we'll see.
But it's also, there's something to say about recognizability. I think that there has been, I mean, Bumblebee became a Camaro in 2007, and he's been a Camaro since 2007. So realistically, he's probably been a Camaro as long as he was a Bug. So I mean, there's a generation of people that know him as a Camaro now.
Right. No, I'm not. I have I have nothing against that. I just like he's not a new Camaro, so that's what I'm just saying. Like, so where does this fit in the timeline? That's all.
I don't know.
This obviously, like John's saying, if this is pre Michael Bay, are they pulling a Kelvin timeline and saying, okay, Witwicky's never happened?
So this is officially a sequel to Bumblebee. I'm looking up the Wikipedia right now, just trying to get. There's not a lot of information.
I mean, the transformations. I mean, they look like the toys.
Mm-hmm.
They look
which is about time. Like I always thought it was weird that they bought this franchise and had it look nothing like the toy line. Right? It always tripped me out.
Well,
like,
if they did make toys that look like those models, kids would be cutting themselves to pieces trying to transform them.
What? You want to make them, but it's fiction. You can make it look similar. Like they didn't even look similar.
I know.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's also one of those things where it's like, well, we need to make it look realistic. Talking about alien robots that transform into cars, like no, there's nothing realistic about this.
It said the film's heavily influenced by Terminator 2.
Oh.
Terminator 2 is a great movie, but what is that movie about?
The villain comes
travel,
back to actually.
It's about fixing the timeline.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that could be literally the idea behind this is to fix the garbage we've been putting up with since 2017 or 2007. Excuse me.
2007. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to know the other? Just a little.
Okay. It takes place. Hold on. It takes place in 1994, so it is a prequel.
They are.
Dave's right. He does have the Camaro. So
they're going to retcon everything.
They should retcon everything. That would be acceptable.
Yeah.
Because
no more dangling balls.
Those movies fucking suck.
They do.
So,
but yet they made money.
Yeah, well,
Avatar also sucks and it made a lot of money.
Yeah. I think people are well, I don't know.
It also made money 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. There's things have changed.
Oh my God!
Just
don't even get me started on the Avatar 2 trailers.
Just another little tidbit.
So boring.
A little interesting tidbit. That they're just in time. They're making a movie where Optimus Prime transforms and looks like the original toy. At the same time, Hasbro, after like 3 or 4 years of development, they have on Hasbro Pulse, they have that new auto transforming Optimus Prime toy, which costs $800.
I was about to say I want one, but it's freaking $800.
You know, it doesn't just transform, right? It's got a programming language.
It walks.
You can program it to do transforms in a different way or move in a different way. You can download other people's programs. I've seen people download programs where it does kung fu. You have to program it so that it keeps its center of gravity. But if you can do that, you can make it do kung fu, dance, whatever.
If any fans are listening and they want to get me that for Christmas, I'd be greatly appreciated.
It's only $800 on HasbroPulse.com, but I'll take one too. But because come on, it was our dream.
It was our dream to have one that would transform on its own. Yes,
45 years ago. Damn. But yeah, so yeah, like this does a lot of stuff for them. It's more recognizable to the toys that they're actually trying to sell. It's recognizable to the ones that this Optimus Prime auto transforming is not going to be the only one. They've had Rawhide and a few others in development for a while. By the same guys,
I would be shocked if they don't have some version of Bumblebee come out too. So
I haven't seen that one. I don't know that they have that one yet, but we'll see. I mean, like once they've got all of this down, they can just but anyway, they could just copy paste it mostly with just different outsides. But yeah, that's I'm all for them wiping out the Bay timeline. I would just love to see at one point where they're fighting and somebody falls on one of the Witwicky's grandparents or something.
So
I know that's horrible, but
so what we're saying is we want to see Optimus Prime will come back in time and shoot like the Witwicky's great grandparents.
And yeah, and then
if Optimus Primal shows up and like it's dun 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 behind him, like okay. All right. What do our listeners think? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Are they erasing the Michael Bay timeline, or is this a red herring? Moving on, we got another trailer for our first look at Indiana Jones 5 or Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What did we think, guys? JD, you can go first.
I thought this was great. I'm so looking forward to this. So Grumpy Old Men was a favorite of mine growing up.
Ah,
got a
okay. Now,
feeling
now I can understand a little more. Okay, keep
this
going.
is going to be grumpy old men with action. Grumpy old men of action. Oh, that's an episode title.
Not just grumpy old men. The de-aging looked really good on him. It looks like they're going to have some. You know,
did. They're finally figuring that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks fun. Like, we don't know a whole lot about it, but it's gonna be about Indiana Jones getting old. And I like the whip scene. Everybody pulls the gun and he's like, oh shit. Like, it's great. It's great playing an old joke. I don't know what it's about because we don't learn what movies are about in trailers anymore.
No, and I
Which is
will
okay.
say, like,
I'm fine with
Disney is really good at showing us enough to get us interested in a trailer.
Mhm.
I mean, a movie from a trailer and not telling us anything about it. And this is definitely one of those.
Not a crystal skull in sight.
The wife
all
also
I
said
said.
this looks like an Indiana Jones movie.
Right. It feels like it.
It did. The last one just didn't. Just from the get-go, like from the digital, and I'm a big fan of digital filmmaking, but it just didn't look right. Like the technology wasn't there yet with high def, and it just the whole thing just it was a great experiment that just didn't work. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Well,
So-
yeah, but also nuking the fridge became a thing. I mean, just
They have-
there were some stupid things in that.
There was a lot of stupid things in that. I don't know what the Spielberg was smoking when he wrote it, but
I didn't mind the aliens thing because I thought that sci-fi alien stuff was big in the 50s.
so
Right? Didn't bug me, but I can't argue people. Who didn't like it.
I got two issues that I'm hoping I can be proven wrong about.
Go for it.
And they both have to do with my issue I've had since they announced this. His age. I still feel like it was bad in Crystal Skull watching old Harrison Ford running around and trying to believe like he could still do this stuff.
And just so he's 80 years old.
Right. He's 80 years old.
Wow, he's 80 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks great for let's be honest. He looks great for 80.
Mhm.
But he's 80 years old, right? So it's I mean, let's look at Captain Marvel. Sam Jackson de-aged, but he looked like when he was moving around and running, he was a 70-year-old man running around. Like you could see it. And I just feel like unless it's a young actor that they put his face on,
Which they can
scenes
do. Which they can do.
which I feel like they did because they hired that guy at Lucasfilm.
They should. He was good. The guy,
The guy
that did the thing.
who redid the Luke
So Luke
thing.
Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in fact,
he
I
did
think he's the
way
one who
better.
did for, what was it, season 2?
Mhm.
Not season, was it season 2 Mandalorian or was
Season
it?
two.
No, it was
Boba
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
I think he did the face there. So yes, most likely it'll be a young actor with his face, Harrison Ford's face. But yeah, unless this is a story about he's old and he's getting old and realizes he can't do this anymore.
That seems like the story.
And it feels like that's what the setup is in the
He
beginning.
says Salah's like, I want the trailer's story is literally Salah saying, I missed those times, and Indy being like, we're too old for this shit, and they get sucked into one more adventure again. And I love that kind of stuff. I think it's great.
Oh, and they brought back John Rhys Davies too.
Yeah, Salah, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
I
and
know.
then
It's just like I heard a voice when I watched the trailer, like, oh,
and I do
no.
have one issue in the trailer, and it was just like, and it feels like they kind of stole the Han Solo thunder from Force Awakens. like, I've seen a few things. I don't believe in magic, but I've seen a few things in my life. It's like, dude, you saw the literal wrath of God kill a bunch of Nazis on an
No, he didn't.
island.
He had his eyes closed.
He had his eyes closed.
He opened his eyes afterward and saw the aftermath.
He saw a man rip a man's chest, a heart from his chest. He did drink from the cup of God, or
He saw the cup of God restore his
saw the cup of
father.
God restore his father. Thank you. But is that magic? And if you'd seen something, do you write it off as like, nope, can't see that because you can't? You there's people that see things that deny what they see because it challenges their worldview.
I kind of feel like, though, there's an aspect of the character from the original trilogy. Let's leave Crystal Skull out of this.
Gladly.
That he was.
There's an
starting to
aspect
believe
of the
a little
character
bit.
where he's an archaeologist, he's a scientist, and an adventurer, but he has a respect for the idea of the mythology behind things because he has seen shit.
Yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean you believe in magic. And I mean, like, at the same time, it's also a case of getting older and you're getting a little more jaded, as it happens when we get older, right? I think that's a story. And that's what we talked about with Luke. It's one of the things I did like about the Star Wars films is Luke did kind of lose his innocence a bit, right? And he got more jaded. That happens to people when they get older. Let me introduce you to some Fox News viewers, my friend.
Oh boy,
they're
don't.
not happy people. But that happens when you get older. You become a little bit more meh. And so if we get grumpy old Indy, I'm okay with that. And this is about him learning to believe again. That's a character arc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I have to go back because I've seen the thing 3 times now, and every time I think I'm going to go back and pause it. But it looked at one point there was one flash.
I know what
you
you're
know
talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Continue.
Yeah, the one where it looks like they're on the Millennium Falcon.
It did look like that. My wife spotted because we were watching these trailers for the show. She's like, "That looks like the Millennium Falcon." And I went
like,
back,
whoa, go back.
It does look like the Millennium Falcon.
So,
I think they're in a plane, but it looks.
If you do
they did that on purpose.
If you do the math of the year that Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark is set, and you do the math from when that movie's set to today, it would be 1977 in the Indiana Jones's world, the same year Star Wars came out.
So Harrison Ford's going to play a younger version of Indiana Jones.
Would it not be funny if they walked by a movie theater and there was a Star Wars poster?
It doesn't seem to. The year doesn't seem to.
No, I don't think it's the 70s, but it would be funny. Like they could do that. Literally, they could do that though.
I thought it was after World War II, at least, that this.
Oh no, it looks like the early '60s. Looking at the cars.
Yeah, the cars look like the '60s, but yeah, the first Indiana Jones is 1930 something. I can't remember. And then when you do the math, it ends up being
1907, something like that.
Something like that.
It's just
set like 1936.
And
then Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is 1935.
It's like right at the rise of the Nazis in Germany.
Right. And Last Crusade is set in 1938, and then Crystal Skull is 1957.
Oh,
so
all of them are on the onset of World War II, huh?
Right. According to this, Dial of Destiny is set in 1969.
See, I think they missed the boat. They should have said it 77.
The 70s were ugly, man. The 60s still look cool. Everything from the 70s is gross.
Well, also at that point, how old would Indiana Jones be?
Probably 80.
Right, yeah.
Probably the age he is right now. Yeah. So
dog just opened the door.
I don't think the dog opened the door. I think someone lit the dog in your room.
I'm gonna see it. I mean,
we're going to see it. That's not a question.
Even up for debate. That's an opening night.
Yep.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like
that's
it's Indiana, it's Jones, and we're old nerds, so like gotta go see it.
I'm just worried. I'm also kind of worried it's going to be a sad swan song. You know?
It will be a swan song, and Harrison Ford likes to die. So look into that. Look into that how you will. At the same time, it's also been 7 years since. At that point, it'll be 8 years since The Force Awakens.
Oh, Force Awakens. Okay.
So it's not like we're retreading Han Solo so soon. It's been a while at this point.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
That's weird to think about, isn't it?
I do think it's interesting. In an interview not too long ago, they said, "Who do you?" There was all this talk about because of the character Chris Pratt played in Jurassic World of like him possibly taking up the mantle, and so they were like, "Who do you think would take your place as Indiana Jones?"
Like,
and he said, "No one."
Yeah,
right.
It's like,
old
you are such a grumpy old man.
He's the best, but he actually wants to do this movie. I think it's cool. He kind of like reluctantly went into Star Wars because Star Wars to him has always been a job, but he actually loves Indiana Jones.
Right? Yes. No, and I give him all the credit in the world, but like I do think you have to be realistic at some point and say like they paid a lot of money for this company, Disney. They're going to want to make money off this character. Like they're going to want to make more.
At least one last time.
They haven't yet, though, which is a surprise. They have not tried to reboot it. Same with like a Back to the Future. Like there's some movies that people just aren't rebooting, and I don't know if.
Well, here's my question. Like, I get with Star Wars was completely owned by Lucas, but does Spielberg own a piece of Indy?
I think it might.
So maybe they were still working out a deal with Spielberg, and that's why it took so long.
Well, there's also how much can people right now we're in the middle of like the Marvel MCU, and how much can people stomach of going back to, hey, it's we're going to do 1920s young Indiana Jones, the new character, right? Like it's the time
they did that. They did that in the 90s. It was called Young Indiana Jones, and it was one of the best TV shows ever.
Right, but I don't know that like these days, like different. Different.
I get what you're saying, but I also kind of feel like that means they should have struck while the iron was still hot. Like it is starting to cool off at this point, So like it taking so long, I kind of feel like it might have been something with Amblin Entertainment and
Oh,
and
probably.
Spielberg had probably a piece of it, and they had to finalize that.
Paramount was also a distributor,
Yeah.
so could be something there too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, I guess we're all in. We're all definitely going to go see this. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. How's
I'm
that?
straight up optimistic. I'm ready to give this to campaign for this to be an Oscar winner. I'm gonna
How
name
about
my
you,
second.
John?
I'm gonna name my second born in, which is a lot considering I live in Illinois, and that's like gross to even joke like that.
Are you even going to have any more kids?
No, we're.
Yeah, I thought so. So, and you're all in, John?
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to see this.
Okay. And then, of course, the big trailer that came out for our audience, Into the Galaxy Volume 3.
They're all going to die.
There was a lot in this trailer without them really saying what this movie is going to be about.
Except the High Evolutionary. We know that part.
I was about to say High Evolutionary.
Adam Warlock.
Yes, and Adam Warlock was in there.
Was it Next Earth? And what are those guys called?
The New Men.
New Men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, they're going for it. Like, I mean, they had to if they're using the High Evolutionary, but it was like, wow. And then
I assume the High Evolution is going to be who created Rocket.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the only thing that's obvious in this trailer. I think it's like that's going to be Rocket's origin. What's the beaver's name?
Beaver.
I honestly don't know.
Not a beaver. You mean Layla?
Yeah, Layla.
Layla. Yeah, his like not
soulmate is in the comics. She's his soulmate.
Right. Well, in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, when they're sitting there getting identified, if you look to the left, you can see that she's one of his known associates. Yeah.
Yeah. So like obviously this is going to be a very rocket centric, at least parts of it are going to be very rocket centric.
But that's good.
It is, because the last time they're also Quill centric, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now Gamora is going to be back in the fold, it looks like.
Yes, the rumor, like, I don't know if this is confirmed, she is going to be running a different Ravager team. And then she's going to run into them in this movie.
Sylvester Stallone's going to be in this one, so he's the leader of the Ravagers. So yeah, there's going to be some. Right.
I like that they're using the Amnet and Landing era suits, right?
Yes,
that's cool.
We got our first look at Adam Warlock.
I don't know. No, I don't know that one.
You don't know Adam Warlock, or you?
No, I know Adam Warlock. The suits.
Oh yeah, the red and blue. I mean, in fact, it's funny. Like, if you ever look up images of Rocket from the comics, he's usually in that suit.
Well, it's from that's my mentor, Andy Schmidt. That he was the editor that launched Onslaught. I'm sorry. Oh God, Annihilation. And Amnet and Andy Lanning were the architects behind that went on to launch the Guardians of the Galaxy reboot series that featured Peter Quill and Drax and Gamora. The Guardian, because the Guardians that we know and love are not the Guardians that were created in the 60s.
No, not at all.
So this is we've always been with the DNA being the term of the fans of Amnet and Lanning. That's what they call them. Dan and Andy. DNA.
DNA. There you go.
They're wearing the suits that the Guardians wore in that comic series.
Yes.
So finally, Cosmic Marvel of the late aughts is great. Like, that is a great little subset of when Marvel was doing stupid stuff like Civil War. Like, Annihilation was going on, and it was so much better. So continue.
But yeah, I mean, oh God, why can't I think of his name? The actor playing Adam Warlock.
Oh, it's the nerdy kid from We're the Millers.
Meet the Millers. We're the Millers.
Oh, Will Poulter.
Will Poulter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you only get a couple quick shots from him, but like everything I've read, he got ripped to play Adam Warlock. Yeah,
well, you have to in these Marvel movies. You don't come in walking out with a pot belly.
But I mean, he's got something in his forehead, but it's obviously not the Soul Stone.
I wondered the same thing: is what exactly does Adam Warlock have in the center of his forehead?
Yeah, if it's not the Soul Stone, what is it?
Great question.
And here's another question I have: like, are they going to ever bring back any of the Infinity Stones? Like, I don't know. They destroyed them in our universe, but they showed that they exist in the other universes still. They're
not supposed to have any effect on our universe, though, right? They're still universe.
They don't have any effect in the TVA universe because they're like in the middle of everything.
Right, but
that's the TVA.
Right. But you shouldn't be able to bring an Infinity Stone from one MCU multiverse universe to the one we're in. because that's like been canon, right? They don't work
No,
in.
That is
They,
not canon.
they don't
not
work.
canon.
No. This is the Council of Reeds. They did like it was in one of the comics with the Council of Reeds where they said that
the MCU is not the Marvel is not the 616.
Oh well, yeah, but you can't. But that went for all the universes. You
Well,
can't
if they're going to bring in Adam
you can't bring
Warlock,
one
they
from one
might
universe
want
to
to
another.
give him the Soul
In the
Stone.
comics, not in the movies. The movies are a different beast.
Mm,
Marvel.
There's also-
Okay, let's get nerdy. Marvel time travel clearly states that when you go back in time and change something, you do not change the timeline. You create an alternate timeline.
right.
It has already been violated, sir, in the Infinity War movies. So we're already on a divergent path from the 616 universe, and we're clearly doing our own thing. So you can't have 8 million Infinity Stones if they want to.
Plus, there is another fan theory too I want to talk about. What does Thanos say? He said he turned them to atoms, to stone, or to dust, right? And they blew away.
Right.
But
they reconstitute themselves.
I was about to say, they're the Infinity Stones. They can probably pull themselves back together, like Ego turned himself into a planet. Like
turn them into atoms or atoms.
Thanos actually said atoms, and there's a bunch of Adam Warlocks running around.
Oh,
Think about it. Think about it.
Oh my god.
Think about it.
No, we know that he.
Are you thinking about it?
We saw the creation, quote unquote, creation of Adam in Volume 2.
Atoms.
We got it. We got it.
We got your joke, JD.
Atoms.
Stop pushing the dad joke. Okay, one more time.
Atoms.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
And all right, so yes, the trailer makes you think this is at least Rocket's last.
Yeah, I never got that vibe. Everyone's saying they're worried about Rocket Raccoon dying because you see a shot of him when he was little, and I'm like, I didn't read that at all. Like, I think people are just so gun shy because they killed Tony Stark. That anytime we do a trailer, they thought Thor was going to die too. Remember?
I'm more worried about Mantis. I'm way more worried about Mantis because what's the high evolutionary going to do when he sees two people that have DNA, from Celestials?
Celestial?
Yeah. He's going to say, oh, it's my birthday. Is it? Okay. Let's see what I can do with these guys.
The high evolutionary is Marvel's equivalent to Joseph Mengele.
Yes. Right. So
Literally.
I'm way more worried about Mantis.
Yeah. Peter too.
True. But I think he's got too much plot armor.
Does he? This is it, by the way, for the Guardians.
This is the last. They said this is the last Guardians movie with I think someone said this iteration,
So
meaning
the cast has said they don't want to do it without James Gunn, so they would have to do a different Guardian Galaxy.
Well, they could still show up in other Marvel movies, couldn't they?
Batista said he ain't doing it. He said he's done with this.
Huh.
He came out and said, "Yeah, I'm done." So I think that, and again, these actors don't like coming back that often. Like even Hemsworth's like, we need changes if I'm coming back. Like actors don't like, very few of them are Kelsey Grammer willing to play the same guy for 20 years.
Troy Brownfield, friend of the show, he's been on many times. He said he felt that this is a misdirect. Like the trailer, there's a lot of misdirects in the trailer.
I think he's right.
That's the biggest one, making us think they're going to kill Rocket off. And also, he said something to me, and I'm like, you know what? You've got a point. They did Groot as a mech suit for Rocket in the comics, and he feels like that scene at the end where he's got all the guns and he's shooting like crazy. If you look quickly, there's like an opening. His chest is like opened up, underneath his chest is opened up, and there's nothing there. Like they digitally removed them, and they're going to put them back in.
They have a history of doing things like this.
Yes, the Hulk shows up in
Infinity War trailer.
Infinity War trailer. There's only one Spider-Man.
When other people are getting punched in the same scene.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they have a history of doing this to us. So
they lie.
Yeah. And like kind of feeling like him saying we are Groot because, not just a callback to the first movie, but also because he's mech suit Groot at that point.
Could be. Which could explain why he has the bulkier design.
Yes. That would explain why they did that. Oh my God.
Interesting.
The Michelin Groot.
Michelin.
Is that what they're calling him?
No, that's what
did you just come up with?
No, they're calling him Swole Groot. That's what his name is right now. Swole Groot.
Yes, I believe James Gunn actually started that.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be interesting. Yeah, Do you feel that this is going to be I mean, obviously it's going to be a Guardians-centric story, but do you feel like this is going to have an impact on the greater MCU with the High Evolutionary and all that stuff being introduced?
It should.
I mean, no, because we don't know where we're really going with this next phase. And it seems like Kang is going to be the driving force. But High Evolutionary is kind of I mean, like, I don't know if I call him an important character, but I mean, he's one that you could like really do something with.
Wasn't he like a contemporary of Kang's, or like
kind of?
So in the comics, Next Earth wasn't it just on the other side of the sun of our Earth, right?
As seen in the famed terrible Spider-Man Unlimited cartoon series.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's what that whole thing was. That was Next Earth, and
that show is trash.
Yeah, they should have just, that was a weird way to end the Spider-Man animated series. Was have him fly off,
have a different company, have him fly up to Next Earth, and have a whole series where everything looks completely different, and it's a bad show. One of the weirder choices in animation history.
Yeah. One of the weirdest Marvel choices ever.
Mm-hmm. They were cheap.
But someone had suggested this. Is Next Earth in the MCU actually in another dimension? Now that we dimension hop,
it's possible
in Marvel.
It's definitely possible.
So
they did say the galaxy needs saving, so I mean it could be another dimension. I think to keep it clean, you make it just another Earth, but I don't know. I mean, both are definitely possible.
Right. I mean, it has to be Next Earth. Like,
it is definitely got to be Next.
They're flying over New York. There's the Statue of Liberty.
There's animals. I mean, it's very like the High Evolutionary is he's Dr. Moreau with armor, right?
Yeah.
So it's Next Earth. It has to be.
So, and one other thing I thought was a very interesting choice, right? So far, the music for Guardians, right? It's all 70s and very early 80s music, right?
Now.
To keep
Space Hog.
I was about to say, to keep it grounded in Peter Quill's pre-leaving Earth life, and then all of a sudden now we get a Space Hog song, which from the 90s, right? Or was it early 2000s? 96. Okay, so I think he's saying something with that, don't you?
It could be. It's interesting. Peter Quill and I are the same age, according to the timeline. So I'm super, because again, that's high school, and he spent his high school years on a spaceship, which he didn't know. But he's been introduced to Earth culture. So, and didn't he get another mix? Didn't at some point someone make him a new mix?
The Zune.
Well, wait. At the end of the first one, he gets. At the end of the first one, he gets the Awesome Mix Volume 2.
Right.
They found that with his mother's stuff or something. But then
but he gets a Zune, and I guarantee it is not crazy to think Space Hawk would have been on the Zune.
This is true. Yeah, but I kind of feel like it's an intentional choice. It's an intentional choice to.
It's getting away from the comfort levels.
Right? No, of course, there's another misdirect, because that song is about like facing your death and like the things that we do in the meantime is the name of the song. It's like what we're doing on this planet to justify our existence and being here and all this stuff as preparing to go on to the next plane or whatever you believe. And it's just like, wait a minute. So you're saying someone's going to die by using that song. I'm not saying that's true, but it feels like that song was picked on purpose.
A lot of them. Okay. A big trope, or not trope. Guys got me saying now, a big motif with a lot of this particular wave of Marvel properties has been grief. And dealing with grief and loss in particular. So it would not, starting with WandaVision, every single thing has really dealt with loss and death.
Yeah.
Not everything, but the vast majority of stuff.
Been the most depressing Marvel, was it quarter or whatever?
Something's coming.
Yeah.
Something's coming.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me if we lost somebody. And I think that I'm going to go out on a limb and say that somebody is going to be Drax.
Huh.
That would suck.
Dave has said he's done.
He has said he's done. I mean, and
so wait,
wasn't that Drax's story in the beginning? He wanted to die in combat, because he lost everything. Like that was his driving thing. He had lost his family,
and he can come back, right? So you have that if you wanted it. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I think it's gonna be.
You can pull a Gamora from another,
or because Drax Destroyer can come back.
Yeah.
But that is my call. Everyone thinks it's going to be Rocket. I think it's going to be Drax.
I don't think it's going to be Rocket. I think it's going to be Mantis.
I don't know if it's going to be Mantis. I don't think she has enough accrued she's not one of the original Guardians, and like you want to get one of those original ones.
Yeah, but what did they do?
They established her with the sister, like they did that. They got those,
Right.
and I agree. I get why John's saying it. It would make sense, but again, I think the obvious signs point to Rocket, but if you look at stuff, you could see it pointing to Mantis. I think they're going to go the other way.
And
I
then
think they're going to go Drax.
There's a scene where they're all in nowhere and they're all walking, and I can't
Drax
remember
is a big shot. Drax is like a bullet hole or something.
Right,
It
but
looks
they're
like
all
Drax
carrying. Someone's carrying
Peter. Mhm.
Right. So there's a lot of misdirects that like
Tons.
someone's going to die in this.
There's going to be some. There's going to be some heavy stuff going on.
They're going to kill Gamora again and be done with
I
it.
don't think so.
No. And Nebula was carrying Peter.
Nebula was carrying.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know. There's a lot of misdirects. I don't know where they're going with this.
I think we got that super happy Christmas special because I think we're going to get a dark story coming up here. Because I think James Gunn is still working through his stuff with Disney.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. So, but I guess we're all in, right? Like we're definitely going to go.
Yeah, opening night again.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to review it for the podcast. So, I mean, you don't have a choice.
Last summer was not a great movie summer, so I'm very excited to have a good one this year.
Yeah, I mean, we did get 3 Marvel movies
last summer, didn't we? We got Thor. What else did we get?
Doctor Strange and Spidey.
That was like in the spring. Spidey was last winter.
Oh, it was okay. You're right. It was Christmas time last Christmas.
Yeah, Spidey was just about a year ago. And I meant the summer. I mean, just on the whole, like the summer movie schedule last year was not great.
Okay, wait a minute. What? I could have swore there were 3 Marvel movies during the summer.
Maybe there was. I can't remember.
What, this summer or last summer?
Yeah, this summer.
Summer
This just
22.
passed. Or did it feel that way because of the TV shows?
Could have felt that way because of TV shows. I believe we got Eternals in the early part of the year. Everyone has forgotten about the culture has decided to forget about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is, I think. I think you might be right.
Well, we're going to have like for summer, there's The Little Mermaid, the live action one.
Well, we're talking this.
And then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and then The Flash. The Flash.
Is it
June
just
20.
the Flash now? Is it not the Flash Point anymore?
It says the Flash. That's the
That's
working
going to be a
title.
mercy. That's going to be a mercy.
Yeah, it's a
kill
mercy
by the
kill.
time it comes out.
June 2023, and then Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, June 30th. And what else? Mission Impossible, blah, blah, blah. The Marvels is July 28th. And then Meg 2, The Trench on August 4th. Jeez. But I don't see... Oh, Blue Beetle comes out August 18th, too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm also thinking Wakanda Forever, but that wasn't summer. You're right. So, yeah, it just felt like there was a lot of Marvel stuff, but only 2 movies in the theater during the summer.
But nothing... Wait a minute. It's not even listing when the hell is Guardians of the Galaxy supposed to come out?
What?
May.
Guardians?
May. I didn't see it in the list. Fascinating.
Oh, I did see another article, but it wasn't like a reputable site, so it's kind of why I didn't include it. Marvel has now said for Phase 5, they're going to cut back on the number of things they release and concentrate on quality over quantity.
It's not a bad idea.
So
they're putting out too much stuff.
There it is. May 5th. Guardians of the Galaxy.
So,
okay.
All right. So we're definitely all in. That is all the trailers. Speaking of we always like to talk about streaming and craziness around that. We have 2 stories. John, you brought one. I have the other that kind of related. We'll start with this one. Apparently, Warner Brothers is in negotiation, and I've seen this everywhere. I guess they're finalizing it. It's not final yet. All the DC animated movies to be released on Amazon Prime going forward.
Good. Nobody will be able to find them.
That is a sign that we need to make money.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, I find it very interesting.
That's what Zaslav said they were going to do, and here we are.
It's so funny. It's like you have your own platform, but you're going to go put all the stuff that people like, because most people like all of the DC animated
DC
movies.
animated is usually way better than the Marvel animated stuff. Yes.
So I think there's this perception that you can make more money by having it on your own service.
I didn't say there was a perception. I don't have that perception.
But I think people do have that perception.
Yeah.
And you could sell it and make more. I mean, there's a reason. Remember in the 90s when Marvel tried to be their own distributor and that didn't work?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't, like, we're undervaluing the role of the distributor right now. And I think a lot of these content providers are finding out that there is a difference between those businesses. And we're going to start seeing those things.
But that still doesn't, because when they try to be their own distributor, they're trying to start from the ground up, right? Well, Marvel, when they try to be their own distributor.
They try to compete with Diamond.
Right. But the thing is that they were going into, they were going into an already established field, but
we are in an already established field.
Right. They already have HBO Max, right?
And it's not doing as well. But they're also in a spot where they need to make up billions of dollars. And you can make more if you sell on top of that.
I mean, this is the way I see it, and you can correct me, JD, if you think I'm wrong.
And I will.
I kind of feel like, no, like the idea is we have this platform, and as long as we keep putting out this stuff on this platform, people are going to come, and the idea of making money is you're trying to get new subscribers interested in
you're not going to get content. We're not getting new subscribers.
Whereas I think the point you're making is, well, if we sell it to Amazon, we're guaranteed to make that money on every movie we sell to Amazon, regardless if we get subscribers on HBO Max or not.
You're not worried about subscribers, you're worried about the bottom end.
Right.
You're worried about your dollar. And again, we're not, this is the problem with everyone, is no one is getting new subscribers. We're in the battle to retain subscribers.
Yeah.
And they're spending a lot on things like House of the Dragon and, those type of things. That's what's keeping the lifeblood afloat. It's not DC animated stuff. So if you can make money by selling those to Amazon Prime, I say you got to go for it. Makes perfect sense to me.
I have a feeling we're going to start seeing more of this kind of stuff going forward.
I think you're right. I think I've been saying it for months. I think there will be a time when we're back to Netflix and Disney.
And Amazon. I think Amazon is going to.
Yeah, but Amazon is diversified in enough of its
I was about to say, Amazon's not going anywhere. They can do whatever they want on Prime, and
they can take a hit.
Yeah.
Because this isn't their Prime Video is just an extension of what else they do.
Right.
And you can tell by the fact that they have one of the worst interfaces anywhere for music and for video.
Yeah.
So it's not their primary focus because they don't give it any focus.
But they just think to deal with Mike Flanagan because Mike Flanagan, the horror director, was doing a bunch of stuff for Netflix, and his contract is done, and Prime picked him up. They said, so now he's going to create all his, miniseries and stuff like that for Prime instead of Netflix.
And that's the thing too. If you're Amazon, right, you've got the money to throw at creators to have them come onto your platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have so much profit right now, they don't know what to do with all the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're looking for things to throw it away on.
Right.
And
except their warehouse
so many robotic women.
Yeah. Except their warehouse workers. They won't throw money on them.
Well, you can't lose money. You lose money if you pay people.
Yes.
You can't do stock buybacks if you're paying people. And that's the problem we have. I mean, that's the thing though. But whereas Warner Media, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have Amazon backing, the Amazon. How would you classify their business? I'm struggling to classify Amazon's business at the moment.
There is no class. They
have their hands in everything.
Right.
Yeah.
They're Hydra, basically.
They own the world. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. I mean,
they only got more powerful during the pandemic.
Multifaceted.
Oh, they became America's conduit.
Yeah.
For survival during the pandemic. It's insane. But I mean, Warner Media can't say that. Disney can't even say that.
No.
Well, parents can. They can say it with parents.
I am a parent. And I mean,
but I mean, because Disney did lose, I mean, in the sense of they didn't make as much as they normally make during the pandemic. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where
they were still figuring out
what Amazon grew.
Disney was still figuring out what they were going to do with new properties, with what's the movie they put out and they decided to charge $30. Mulan, right?
Well, Disney launched this. Remember, let's not forget, Disney launched this 3 months before the world hit. No, I'm sorry. They launched this at the very beginning of the pandemic.
Right. Yeah. It was the beginning.
When it was the Wuhan thing, when stuff was happening in Wuhan.
Otherwise, Mulan would have been in the theaters.
Yeah.
So I mean, they experimented, and I honestly think they realized that it didn't work. That model wasn't going to work for them.
Otherwise, they would keep doing it. Where Amazon does do that.
Right. But Amazon at the moment doesn't make, they can, and they don't merely make movies to get distributed in the theater.
Nope.
Where Disney's business model has always been movies that go to the theater. So
correct.
Yes. So I also kind of feel like it comes down to this idea in business where you compare your profit margins. So like if Disney sits there and goes, well, we normally make 100 million, I'm throwing numbers out. None of these are real. We normally make $100 million on a movie. And when we put it on Disney Plus, we only made $30 million. Like we can't do that. Whereas Amazon goes, well, Amazon goes, well, we normally make 10 million and we put this out and made 20 million on, like they don't have a distribution to compare it to in that sense. So yeah, they can keep doing it and they're happy. Where if Disney's not making as much money, they're like, no, we're not happy. We're not going to do it. I mean, it's funny when I hear people talk about this, like, oh, everything's just going to go online. It's like the companies aren't making the money they made. They're not going to want to do that.
Right. The online is supposed to be only one channel of a distribution of a movie, right? You go to the theaters first, you make a bunch there, then you go to DVD, I guess, and then streaming, or one of those two comes next. But you've got like 3 different channels of revenue. That
I feel like you go to streaming first now because it's 3 months, I think.
Yeah,
right?
and then DVD. But and you pick up more cash there. But like you don't make more money by cutting off one of those channels.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yeah. And then, John, you showed us Disney and, how do I say this? Kandasha?
Oh, Kadansha. It's Kadansha.
Announced a long-term anime partnership. So Disney Plus is going to get into the anime
No, they're not.
world.
They may think they are, but this is going to be another interspecies reviewers. Like I don't know what they're going to do, because like there is very little anime that is made, even like the throwaway anime that's only supposed to be like a big commercial for somebody's manga on Shonen Jump. There's no way that they can put any of that on Disney Plus. Just none.
I feel that this came from, what was the name of that project for the Star Wars stuff, where it was all those shorts that were done by anime studios?
Oh yeah. The Visionaries.
Yeah.
And like that brought in an audience they weren't expecting, and everyone praised that. So they're like, well, now we want more of that.
Well, maybe they looked at Sony and saw Sony bought up Crunchyroll and Funimation, and now they've pretty much got at least half of the anime market for like the United States, at least,
and
certain other countries.
You said something at the beginning about how like a lot of anime is adult oriented, or because cartoons really aren't just made for kids.
That's the thing. It's not adult oriented. It's the fact that the Japanese have a different aesthetic and a different idea of what maturity is. So like even in your most tame anime, when a woman walks, you're going to hear the boobs bounce, and you're going to see like there's like 2 big things that animators, that real anime animators
Boobs are sometimes 2 big things.
If a boob bounces in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound?
In anime, it does, yes. So the thing is, but there's like two big competitions in anime. One is how well they can animate the bounce of somebody's breasts, and the other one is how well they can animate food. Like it's
Japan's
just
a weird place, man.
It is. But the thing is, like, even the most tame stuff is not going to make it on Disney Plus. They're going to have to put it on Hulu at the very least.
Okay, so number one, I appreciate John's intense explanation of boobs and anime.
But I know, but like, there's so much fan service in even the lowliest of anime.
I feel like Disney Plus, Disney realized this already. That's why they have the age restricted stuff, and they have Deadpool. I mean, come on, like Deadpool's R, right. And they have it on Disney Plus now, and they're gonna make an R-rated movie for him. Like, so we'll see. I mean, I think you'll get something maybe a little tamer than what you're used to, John.
No, well, that's the thing. If it is,
but I think it's still going to be more adult than what you think Disney's going to put out.
But that's the thing. Like, anime people are really, really stringent and really, really particular about what they're not going for the diehard anime fans. They're going for the casual anime
American anime fans.
Kodansha is like one of the main distributors of anime. Like,
I know,
they
but Disney
work with
doesn't care
Crunchyroll.
about that. Disney cares about getting the 350 million Americans who are okay. I'm sorry.
Check out.
But you don't come up like almost every anime that exists came from somebody's manga or light novel. So you don't just create brand new anime out of thin air. You usually work with somebody who has created something that worked its way up. There's like this huge conveyor belt.
Okay.
Going. You put
Growing
on a
up-
manga, you get onto Shonen Jump, and then it grows up there, and then maybe one of the anime studios
John,
will pick it up and say, we'll try a first season.
You're not listening to me. You're not the target audience. The people that grew up watching Speed Racer and Battle of the Planets and G-Force, who have no idea of the history and like where it came from, they just know those, they watched those cartoons growing up as kids. That's the audience.
Right,
Like,
but the problem is that Battle of the Planets was cut down because they took entire parts.
I
out
don't
for the
care.
American...
I liked Battle of the Planets. I don't care about that. I will watch this stuff because
wait. You're not understanding me. If they're working with Kodansha, that means that they're working with real anime. If they take somebody's manga and they butcher out the parts like the fan service and the
did that
violence,
in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s on TV, and the kids ate it up.
Right. That was for the Americans. That's
what they're doing.
This will be for the Americans.
This will be for the Americans.
But what I'm saying is that was for the American culture back in the 70s. That's not going to fly today when Crunchyroll and High Dive are readily available.
Okay, but that's the thing is Crunchyroll and the other one you just said are available. This will be an alternative service. You need a gateway to get to these things.
I know, but
Disney can provide that gateway.
Right, but the thing is that if you could have a Morningstar veggie burger or you could have a real hamburger, which one are you going to go for?
I don't know what the first one is.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Real people that are interested in anime, if they're not going to go to Disney, and if somebody starts in Disney and then they see some real anime from somewhere else, they're going to go straight to Crunchyroll, High Dive, or whatever.
Not necessarily. There's people that like those kind of things. I mean, like I say, I'm a professional wrestling fan, right? I don't like the WWE product. I think it's too watered down and sanitized and boring. I prefer watching Japan or AEW, something like that. But that is the minority voice, right? A lot of people will like the thing that they are introduced to at first because it has a greater reach, and that will become their version of it. Whereas what you are talking about would be for more of a hardcore fan. And now you've just split the fan base. But what you've also done is you've grown the fan base.
True.
And there are people that will discover it and will like that better. But this becomes a gateway product. When you have a gateway product, there are people that are going to prefer the gateway, right? And then there are people that are going to fall in love with the real stuff.
Right.
Like I don't foresee an issue with this because all I see is this introduces anime to a different audience.
Well, I get it, but here's the problem: the source material is what you're working with, and if they're working with Kodansha, they're working with source material.
Okay,
but the distributor, who's Disney's, going to go, okay, but you've got to cut this out, this out,
right?
Which
The owners of the IP aren't going to allow that.
They are.
They did that in the 80s with Voltron and like
right, but
the 70s, the 80s, and
that was the 80s.
They still do it today.
No. That was the 80s before there was any other.
They're not going to have a choice because these things are. We talked about lines of distribution. You've made a purchase. Like these things are owned, right? The people who are going to be working with them are going to be okay with it, or their stuff will not be that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and what they're going. Well, what
they're going to get is diet anime, but that's what Disney wants to sell you.
It's gonna
that's what they want. Though.
Yeah,
Disney wouldn't be doing it otherwise.
I know, but the thing is, like, I don't know how to convey to you, like, the anime community is a lot different than other communities.
But this isn't for the anime community.
Again, it isn't for the anime community. They're trying to build their own community by using anime, right? So it will be, like I said, I get it, man. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. I completely understand this, like, because I see this all the time, right? These are not the same fans.
I know, but it's gonna be. I mean, like you said, there's gonna be, like, this is another avenue where if Disney, wait. If Disney's going to be the animator on some of these, that could be good for anime because it will be yet another house, another creator whatever, that can be creating anime and give more of these manga writers and light novel writers an avenue to get their stuff actually on film, right? But again, like,
I feel
it's going to be hard to find writers that want to work with somebody that's going to want their stuff watered down.
Bullshit. It's called money. It's called money.
Yeah, but and I understand that, and you
John?
may get new. No. Listen to me. You may get new writers. You may get new writers that think, oh yeah, money. I can make money writing this. Right? Okay, fine. But the guys who create this stuff, they're very, very, very particular about what they're putting out.
What is the biggest...
any of the existing ones, they're not going to work with this.
John, what is the biggest independent comic book franchise of all time?
I don't know.
I know where you're going with this.
Well, okay, JD, what is the biggest independent?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right. Did you ever read the original graphic novel for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Not until I was like 15.
It is absolutely nothing.
Right.
Nothing like any of the cartoons or movies. It is all washed down. But it does not respect the original source material.
But again, that was put out back when there were no other avenues to get it to the American audience.
The creators are involved.
There's plenty of other,
but they're not as big as Disney.
True, except that Sony owns Crunchyroll and
Sony.
They're not Disney.
It doesn't. Yeah,
it does matter. It's not, again, this isn't for you. And again, I know you're taking this very altruistic view of the artist, but there's a lot of artists that want to make money too. And you can do other things. You can do different things. You can have.
I get it, but you're missing the cultural point of.
Tell me about the Japanese culture that I don't know about.
Why are you saying that?
Because I'm a wrestling fan. I understand this stuff completely. It's not going to, I get it. I see this all the time in professional wrestling. There is a difference, but there is an audience too for stuff that is Americanized. There is an audience to find American fans that will like a diet version of it.
I get it.
I also feel it's akin to an argument of a Spider-Man movie will fail unless it shows Peter Parker as a nerd with glasses in high school, bit by a radioactive spider.
No, it's not. It's not anything like that. There.
No, it's the same thing. You're saying it's got to respect the source material. It changes based on the audience you're trying to reach.
John, let me lay it in like this: if Disney, how often has Disney have gotten themselves into a marketing platform that they failed with?
This again, that's for Western cultures.
They're bringing it to Western culture. They're doing this specifically for Western culture.
I know.
They're not doing it for the Eastern culture has that. The manga and anime are deeply embedded into Eastern culture. And Disney is trying to help grow that by Americanizing it the same way our parents did that. Our parents' generation did that for us in the 70s and 80s.
I know, but the thing is, how
often has Disney heavily invested in something like this and failed?
I understand, but you're still comparing now to the 70s. They were way
withdraw what I said.
Times.
Withdraw what I said. How often has Disney invested heavily into a platform and failed?
I completely get it. But the thing is, I don't think Disney quite understands what they're getting into.
They're going to reinvent it for their audience.
Yeah. That's not going to fly with the anime community.
It does. It's not for the anime community. It's for their audience. They're using anime as a bridge into their audience. It's not going to go. The bridge doesn't go that way. The bridge isn't going to go from anime fans to this. The bridge will go from Disney fans to anime.
If they were creating their own anime, they wouldn't. They shouldn't have started working with Kodansha. Kodansha is not, because Kodansha is going to go to the source material and bring them to Disney.
John, what you're doing.
You don't think these people know what Disney does? You think these people made a deal with Disney and have no clue how Disney operates?
Oh, they probably do, and I'm sure they'll get people that write for them. I'm just saying that the actual anime community out there is not going to consider that anime. It's not going to be considered an anime.
Okay, and to that I say, so what? What does that matter? You have Crunchyroll. You have that. This isn't, and I'm telling you this now, we have this argument a lot on this show. This isn't for you.
I get that, and
I say you. I'm not saying you as in John O'Grady. I'm
know,
saying you
right.
as in the United States westernized anime culture. This is for a different fan.
I know,
One that doesn't exist yet.
I just like kanji. It is very hard to translate what I know as being in the anime community for about a decade now to make you understand just how different this situation is from other stuff that Disney has tried.
It doesn't matter.
Wait a minute.
Their own fans.
I think
let me try this a different way.
But no, Dave, you're trying to explain something to me, but you don't understand my side of it. Truly, you really don't. And you don't understand how the anime community responds to people trying to call something anime that isn't.
It's not about the anime community, though. It doesn't matter what the anime.
I know, but
Here's
Disney's going to call it anime.
Here's another great.
And Disney doesn't care what the American anime community thinks. They're going to create their own fans, and in less than a decade, they will outnumber you. That is what happens. That is what Disney does. We're talking about Disney.
I understand.
In the United States, you were talking about an army of kids, from younger than my son to older than my son, that only know this. You are breeding a new battleground. You are creating new soldiers. It's not, they don't want your money. They want my money as a parent. They want to educate
Andy's money.
They want Andy's money. They want to they want to bring up their own fans and re-educate them.
I get it. But what you're going to get is the really watered down Star Wars.
I know.
Stuff.
This is what happened in the 1980s with pro wrestling and Vince McMahon. This is exact same thing. And everybody's saying like you said, John, they don't understand the community. They don't know how this is going to work. And what they did was they built their own. And your guys aged out, and there's still going to be those people like you, but there's a bigger audience here. Audience of Disney.
But what you said, what you said, that Vince McMahon built his own, right? He decided he'd take the concept.
Oh, no. He bought stuff. He brought in people from other places. He offered them money, lots of money.
Which is what Disney's doing
that's what I'm saying. I've seen this before.
Right. But he still, at that point, he has control over what they do and what they portray and all that, right?
Disney.
Well, yeah, but no, that the source material, they're not going to rewrite all of Bleach or
they're not going to
Dragon Ball Z in order to do
that. They're not going to do that. They're going to do something different because those things already exist.
Which means it's not anime at all.
Exists. That's according to you and your fan base. Of course, that is exactly it. Disney is not interested in that. Disney is interested in doing their own thing and owning the market on it.
I also kind of feel like that's arguing that Voltron and the Speed Racer and all those are not anime, but there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, no, that's anime. That's all anime.
Speed Racer was cut a little bit for American audiences. Voltron wasn't Voltron in what the original anime that it comes from. Actually, there were three different series from three different types of anime
fans that are like, yeah, that's anime. Like,
no, that's Saban style anime, and
But that's the gateway, man. That's how you get fans. That's how you create fans, is you give them this stuff, right? Same like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends won us all over, won our generation into becoming comic book fans.
And
you can't tell me Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is the same level as a Marvel 616 comic, because it isn't. You're baiting the hook. You're creating fans. That's what Disney does. That's why they've had fairy tales has been the heart and soul of their business for over 100 years because it was cheap, fast, and they knew it. It had cultural touchstones.
Okay.
And they put their own spin on it.
Okay.
This is Disney.
I get it. I get what you're saying. But again, they decided to work with Kodansha, and basically that means that Kodansha is going to have to find completely new writers who are willing to tone down what they're saying. And in some cases, because again, like you keep telling me, this is Disney, they're going to have to find writers that are going to have to take direction from Disney.
A lot of money. They're going to have to find writers who want to make money. God almighty, how is that going to go over?
And screw the art, right?
Well, who says you can't make art with money? Who says that? That's like saying everything Disney has done is not art.
No.
Because it's sanitized. Because it doesn't have to go. I mean, that's not true.
again,
That's not true.
But you're putting it through a filter
saying-
that it's never been through before.
You're saying that you can't. You're saying that art cannot be created unless there's tentacle porn and boobs flopping.
No, I'm not.
And
I'm saying
that's
I'm saying
exactly
that
what you're saying.
actual anime can't be. And if
Sure,
Disney
it can.
All right.
Will it appeal? Will it appeal to you?
I am just
Probably
going to
not.
I'm just going to look forward to the first.
You're going to look
time
forward to
that
Disney failing.
No,
Disney failing.
No,
yes,
no.
John. I can't wait till Disney
Will you
fails on a
stop?
grand
They're
stage.
not going to fail. But what they're going to create is not going to be anything like real anime. And
That's what they're trying to do. That is literally the business plan.
I know,
To
but
do their own stamp on it, to Disney-fy anime.
Well, they're going to have
That's
some
what they
bumps
do.
because if they're working with Kodansha, the creators that work with Kodansha aren't going to care about what Disney says because they're very particular about their art.
Let's see how that
So
plays
the
out.
Kodansha is going to have to hire a whole bunch of new writers and
Then
stuff.
let's see.
They're going to
That's
have to hire
fine.
new
You think
creators. And
that's what they're investing into, though.
I get it.
Yeah, you're right. They're not going to do Dragon Ball Z. They're not going to do Bleach. Those are already done. Disney's going to want their own thing. They're going to want something new, and they're going to introduce it to a new audience that is unfiltered by this stuff. And they're creating new fans that are loyal to their product, the same way they did with Sleeping Beauty and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Right, except
in
that
this
those,
culture,
except those properties were what do they
they
call
have to
it?
pay for it now. Public domain.
Yeah, they were public domain.
But
this
they
stuff
still
ain't-
had
this stuff ain't public
it's
domain.
but it's owned by them. It'll be owned by them. There's no difference.
Well, right, and that's again, that's
It's
that's
not
the problem.
supposed, but it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be pure anime. They're not trying to create pure anime. They're trying to create Disney anime.
Right, but you're missing. Okay, I get it. But add this to the mix, right? Yeah, when Disney creates something, they're going to own it, right? They're going to hand people contracts through Kodansha and say, "Here's the Disney thing. We'll put it on. We'll animate it. Here's the contract. We own this." Right? That's yeah. Well, that's not the way that's not the way the current market works. The current market, the people who wrote it, the actual authors, the writers, and artists, they own that stuff.
I think you're missing another great point here. 1 billion Disney fans, maybe 1 million, 20 million anime fans that are going to be upset.
No, dude, something like 10 to 20 billion anime fans.
There aren't that many people on the planet.
Many people on Earth.
What I'm saying is,
just there are way more anime fans than you think. There are.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
they're
Disney
in every
is
freaking country.
When it comes to the general,
the U.S. That's
when it
what
comes
this is
to
for.
when it comes to yes, it's also about the U.S. But when it comes to general market share of entertainment, Disney's got a much bigger market share than any anime company. Than all the anime companies combined. They have a much bigger market share. Like that's what it comes down to. So Disney is going to do what Disney wants to do,
right? But
and they're going to succeed.
They're only going to just create a new niche of animation, not anime.
It'll be. I think you're right about that. I think they will put a Disneyfication on anime. But that's what they're trying to do anyway. They don't want to be Crunchyroll. If they wanted to be Crunchyroll, they would just do and go buy Crunchyroll.
Episode title.
Want that.
Episode title. Disneyfied boobs.
What? See. Here's the thing. Like, there's so it would take me 2 hours to explain every reason why. Like I get
that's every reason in your head why it's not a good thing. But the money talks.
I know, but the money can't change the fact that Disney won't allow real anime on their site. Period.
What you call real anime. That's the other point. Just because you don't like just because you don't like what they're doing to it doesn't mean it's not real anime. It's just not real anime.
It's not me. It's the
you're gatekeeping. You are gatekeeping anime.
Yes, the anime community gatekeeps. They're the ones.
Did you know gatekeeping is bad in every industry but anime fandom? Apparently,
apparently,
it's crazy how that works out.
Oh God!
But I'm telling you, they want Disney is going to do a Disney thing. They don't care about what's on Crunchyroll. They want
the idea should be
their idea of what
the idea should be. If this brings a much larger audience to anime, you should be happy about it.
It'll be a different audience. It won't be the same audience.
Why is that bad?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that it's not going to be anime. I'm saying that it doesn't work like that. It's not just it's not
so what? That doesn't bother Disney.
Then why are you fighting
That is not
with
what
me?
Disney Because I'm telling you, Disney is going to make a lot of money doing this, and they're just making Disney stuff. Like you're saying, the anime community won't accept it. I have never argued that point at all. You're correct.
And I think you'll be shocked. I think there will be anime people that accept it.
No, they will groom a stable of people that will try to write really watered down anime for Disney, who are willing to give up their own IP. But that's not the way the ecosystem works.
You don't know that that's what's going to happen. You are putting
I'm going by what Disney does.
Are you really going to tell me that Disney has like you say, watered down? You're telling me that it is not good. Disney has been the cornerstone in animation.
I'm not saying it's not going to be good
for 100 years.
Wait, whoa. I'm not saying it's not going to be good. I'm saying it's not going to be. It's not going to have anything intrinsic to it that makes it actual.
See, I also think
and I'm saying,
it's going to be Americanized cartoon.
I kind of also think you guys are missing another point here.
Please, Dave, tell me.
I think you guys are missing another point here. This is for Disney Plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the biggest audience is in the United States, but Disney Plus is in other countries too.
It is
in Japan and China and Asian countries where they watch anime. There's a really good chance.
In China, they are really filtered in China, dude.
Okay, well, whatever. I mean, what I'm saying is, in other countries that where there's larger anime audiences, I guarantee what's the name of the company? Kodansha, whatever they normally distribute in those countries will be on Disney Plus in those countries, and in the United States, we'll get the American-fied versions, the new stuff.
You're right.
They won't America. That's the thing. They did. If they,
in fact, it's not even called Disney Plus; it's called Star or something like that.
If somebody writes real anime, they're not going to give their IP up to Disney. Disney's going to have to. Disney's going to create a new corral.
If the company that owns the distribution has a deal with Disney, it's done. That the guy who created this super great anime that everyone loves is going to have to quit and go somewhere else.
No.
The IP is already owned by that company because that's how creative stuff works anymore.
If Akira Toriyama has a contract with Kodansha, which he probably doesn't because he's too big, but if he did, and Disney is working with Kodansha, there's no way because he owns the IP. There's no way he's going to allow Disney.
Does he own the IP?
Rearrange it. Yes, almost every anime owner owns their own IP because they first put out a manga or something like they're copyrighted, they're trademarked, they own their own IP.
So
that's why I'm saying Disney will have to have Kodansha start to hire new people who are willing to give up all of that.
I guarantee that there are people. I guarantee these people that you're saying aren't going to do it. There are a handful of them that are going to do it.
Yes, there's always going to be a handful. That's just the way it'll work. But they're going to get, like even the article says, it's all original series that they're going to be adding. Like it's not going to be, but it's just.
But I don't think anybody expects it to. I don't think anyone expects it to be. It's going to be something new. It's not going to be, like I'm saying, it's not going to be traditional anime. That's not the point. That's not what Disney's trying to do. They're going to try to make Disney anime.
Which they did with
McDonald's makes a fast food burger that's not as good as something you could get at a good restaurant, but it's still a cheeseburger.
And they did it already with the Star Wars thing, and it was a success. Everyone loved it that watched it.
I know, but again, that's not Vinland Saga. It's not Escaflowne.
But that already, as JD pointed out, that already exists. Who cares? That's already out there.
I know, but there's no way that I can explain to you what the difference is between what is considered worldwide real anime and what is Americanified. Just to put it in geek terms, the Americanified versions of anime are looked at like you look at the Klingons from the original series in Star Trek. But like Klingons.
That is the nerdiest thing that's ever been said on this show.
I know.
Congratulations.
But what did Worf say when he was asked about this? He says, we don't talk about that. That's the way anime talks about anime from the 70s brought over to the United States. We don't talk about that anymore.
Who cares? Why does that matter to Disney?
I know it doesn't, but I just find it really funny that they think that they're going to put real anime on and have people actually think
there's going to be more people that call that real anime than people who don't.
In the United States,
yes. Yes.
No,
In the
too many.
US.
Yes.
Again, if it was the 70s, yes.
No,
It's not the
today.
70s
Today.
anymore. There's too many anime fans.
There's more
all over the
Disney
world right
fans
now.
in the United States than there are
Right,
anime.
right.
Disney
fans.
fans are fans of Disney.
Are beneath
of,
you.
Of
They're
kids
beneath
of,
you.
Of
Yes.
rated G stuff.
Yes, they're children. Isn't this a crazy idea? You get children into something and they become fans for life. It's this bizarre strategy that they've gone with for a century now that seems to have worked.
So is that me, John the gatekeeper, and you the keymaster?
Stop it.
I
Don't
fucked
go there.
this shit up good. All I'm saying is Disney's going to make a lot of money and they're going to not care that John doesn't like their shows.
It's I can't,
That's, I mean,
Guaranteed John's going to end up watching one of them.
You know what? You know what? I am just, you know what? I'm not going to argue anymore. I'm just going to sit back and we will watch. And I
am
be
going
very
to-
interested to see what
I'm
your
going
reactions
to-
are.
I'm not going to care about
For
I don't
everyone
watch
that comes
anime.
out,
I
I'm
know,
going
but
to make
if
us
you didn't
watch
care, why are
it
you
to review it
arguing
on
with me
this
so much?
show.
I'm going
Because
to
you're
the anime
because-
community.
But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what the anime community thinks. Disney's going to create their own.
Yeah, a new form of animation.
Yes.
Not anime.
That's
Not anime. But they
'cause
accept that they're working
that's the
with
gatekeeping. They're
except-
going to call it anime. They're going to trademark it. They're going to call it Disney anime, and it's going to make you really angry.
Oh God, it's
And
not
you're-
going to
and
work
then
out.
we're gonna
like I
laugh
think
the
it's going to
whole
work
time.
out, man. It's just not going to work out the way
Yeah,
you think it is.
Disney's got this like long history of like trying these business ventures that have failed.
This didn't
There's
work. I know.
bones in the graveyard all
I
over
feel
the
bad
place.
for the mouse.
Gods, you guys are just like voting for Satan. I guess but again,
No, I just live in reality.
Anime, yeah, except that in this case, it's the 2020s anime is too
They don't care.
It's
They're going to
too
do something
entrenched.
new.
Do you know who you sound like, John? Do you know who you sound like? Seriously, and I say this with love. You sound like the comic book gatekeeping people who hate all of the MCU movies because they're not exactly like they are in the comics, or they're too woke, or too whatever bullshit they say about these movies. They're all over the internet.
but
this
those
is garbage. It doesn't work. They're making millions of
that's a-
dollars. They don't care what these people say.
That's a
They don't
straw
care
man.
what the anime
That's a straw
community
man.
says.
Those are two different mediums.
No,
right?
it's the
One
same
is derived
idea.
from the other, but the medium of anime in animation already exists.
Oh my god! All right.
I can't wait till Disney fails in this venture, and we can laugh about that time that Disney tried anime, much like when McDonald's had the seaweed burger.
They won't fail. They will just have Japaneseified animation by Western animators. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be real anime that's derived from Shonen Jump, where they're grooming all these different writers, where they find
One more
diamonds in the
time.
rough and then bring them in.
So
It's
what?
not. That's not the way Disney works. They won't work like that.
It's so what? They work as the way they make money. That's what they want. They want their own they want their own
I know,
slice of
I
the
know,
animation.
I know,
of the
but
anime
there's not
pie.
but for once, I will tell you this. In all honesty, in this case, there's not enough money in the world for them to actually take the word anime and make it what they want it to make. It's just not the way it's going to
We
work.
need to talk about how branding works, my friend. You say something over and over again, and
again-
people keep using it. Let me introduce you to Jello.
I get it, but there's too many anime
Band-Aids.
There's too many anime people out
Scott
there today.
Towels.
I've never heard anyone refer to them as Scott towels. We call them
No,
paper-
I've heard lots of
Tissue-
people.
You're
we call
talking
them paper
tissues,
towels.
right? Kleenex. Give me a
Kleenex.
Right.
Kleenex.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but there's too many anime fans out there right now. They
I'm
way
going to make
outnumber
sure I
the
refer
number
to
of-
all this stuff as anime for the rest of time.
No. It's there's, and I'm telling you, the Disney's got a bigger fan base, so it doesn't matter.
It
You're gonna
really-
have all of those people calling it anime,
Interesting.
and all you're gonna do is get angry.
See, that's the thing. You're underestimating the anime community. There are more anime fans out there than there are
you're
Disney
underestimating.
You're
the
underestimating
mouse.
Disney. That's what I'm saying.
There,
You're
no,
underestimating Disney.
there are more anime fans out there than there are Disney fans.
No,
By far.
No.
All
In
right.
every
I think it's
single
time
country on the
we wrap the
planet.
show up.
You have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, I think you're right. Old man
You're right.
Grady.
Disney is super not popular around the planet.
I'm not saying
What
that
did we
they're
learn on the
not.
show today?
I'm not saying that they're not, but they're known for their kids stuff. They're not known for
All right,
anime,
all right.
man.
It's time for old man O'Grady to take his vitamins and get ready for bed. So let's wrap this one up. What did we learn on the show this week, or any recommendations?
I'm gonna-
JD, you can
I'm
go
gonna
first.
I'm gonna avoid all the smart ass answers. I'm gonna say comic books are too expensive. I took Andy to the comic book store today again, and I was gonna buy the Dark Crisis and Infinite Earth series that I'm missing out on, and it's like $6 an issue. It costs too damn much money to buy.
$6?
$6. It costs too much damn money to buy individual issues of comics anymore. Like I am just gonna drop that $100 on the DC digital stuff for a year because it's just. I'm like looking at this thing. I'm like, this is dumb. This is dumb. I can't see how this business. I can't see how this works. It costs too much money.
Doesn't that mean that you buy if you buy 10 comics a month, you're way over the price of the DC subscription?
Correct.
Then
that's why it doesn't make sense.
Huh?
Because there's people that feel the need to have the pages in their hands.
What bugs me is that the idea used to be you could buy it with pocket change.
Yeah,
because it was aimed at kids and at a spinner rack in a drugstore, and they could buy the book with their pocket change.
Yeah, it's changed, right?
Too much, yeah.
It costs too damn much money, and I want to read. I enjoy reading, but I mean, it's like to buy this series is less than my Audible subscription. Is more than my Audible subscription, and I'm like, and I understand these people need to make money. I get it. I get the creators need to make money, but the comics just cost like individual floppy books. Cost too much money. They just do.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all I got.
That's your rant? Okay.
Well, we've ranted plenty on this show.
We've ranted plenty, yes.
I'm ranted. I think I'm going to do a TikTok where I start ranting about stuff, though. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I've looked that is something I'm interested in. Ray, I know you're listening. Reach out to me.
I think 1 minute videos of you and John ranting back and forth.
We are incapable of keeping them to 1 minute apiece.
Okay, John, any recommendations besides avoid Disney animation?
Well, it's good you call it Disney animation because it won't be Disney anime. Yeah. There's going to anime. I mean, I said, oh God, what is it? I had it up. It was Netflix. Was it? Oh, Enola Holmes 2. Well worth a watch. Enola Holmes 2 is well worth a watch. Check that out. I think I've already said go see Wednesday. Definitely go see Wednesday. I'm about to go dive into the next season of the Dragon Prince, Mysteries of Erebos. But in the anime scene, My Hero Academia season 6 is killing it like no other right now. The entire season so far has been one huge battle, and it's amazing. And it's only the mid mark between the beginning and the end of the anime. Like it only gets more fire from here. So if you haven't seen My Hero Academia, you should start. It's really, really good.
It's one of my son's favorites, actually. So what I learned is if you are a fan of Disney right now, you better run out and buy everything you can on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever and get in your collection, because man, those anime fans are going to take down Disney Plus before you know it.
You know what though? When this does launch, people will be super pissed online. So that is going to be things that I'm really looking forward to reading on Twitter. Twitter survive?
There'll be people pissed, but the point, you'll get the cadre that's pissed. But the thing is, again, nobody in the anime community is going to consider it anime because it's just they're going to Americanify it, and Americanified animation is Disney animation. It's not anime. It's not Japanese anime. It doesn't even have to be Japanese these days to be anime because China's been doing really good, but it's not anime. That's just it.
Think anyone's argued that point.
I will also recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media currently. We might be adding TikTok, boys and girls, at the top of the page.
We should.
And comic book reviews and so much more. So make sure you check out superheroespeak.com. And other than that, I got nothing. I did not think that this conversation was going to go this way. I'm going to leave everyone with this. Like a long time ago, I got upset at Marvel movies and was told you're gatekeeping. Like the idea is they want to broaden the audience. If it brings in more fans, it's just a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So gatekeeping is not a good thing, boys and girls. Keep that in mind. And just love everyone that you can. And on that note, as always, don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.